Welcome to our final segment. We're here on location at our mineral harvesting facility here on the pristine shores of the Great Salt Lake. And Dr. Starkey, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about this modernized harvesting facility that we have here?
I'd love to. In fact, what I'd like to do, Scott, is kind of tell them about the surroundings. I mean, we're in a very remote location, very pristine, as you mentioned, literally protected by thousands of acres. Yet at the same time, we're very close to the lake's edge. In fact, we're only 500 feet from the lake's edge. Therefore, we don't have to trench or disrupt, the lake's bed in any way.
Correct.
So therefore,
yeah.
we keep it protected. I mean, it's a sensitive environment, but at the same time, we don't disrupt it in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. The other good thing is it's completely secure because we do have private lands all around us, and we're like 20 miles from the nearest public access road. So it's also has 24-hour surveillance. So it's really neat out here.
It is, and one of the things that we enjoy about this location is that, again, when you look at what Mother Nature's provided for us, and that we have the opportunity to take from it and be able to, help and promote the benefit of what we discussed in the other segments, this truly is a piece of nature that has a beauty all its own.
Right. The other thing we do is we use a lot of solar energy in order to a lot of the processes that we're doing to harvest the minerals.
Right.
So we're minimizing our carbon footprint in that way as well.
Absolutely.
One of the key aspects of this facility is testing, and we go to great lengths to test our product to ensure its quality. And Dr. Starkey, why don't you talk a little bit about this testing that we do?
Sure. We spend thousands of dollars on third-party testing to make sure that the quality, the standardization is literally specific to what we need, and of course to our end product. We're also involved in GMP certification. That's a very important. I think it should be important to those that use the product that they are GMP certified.
Yeah, and we're also testing multiple times a week to ensure that the product is where we need it to be and is at the quality that you would expect. We have a really special guest with us today as well, and we're really privileged to have him here. It's David Butts.
David's been involved in solar evaporation. In fact, I would say, is the founder of solar evaporation here on the Great Salt Lake.
Absolutely.
He's got 45 years experience. He's a certified chemical engineer.
Yep. He's also on our advisory board
Absolutely.
as well, and consults with us on the solar evaporation technology. He designed the entire operation that we have here, essentially.
Absolutely.
We have more than a dozen solar evaporation ponds. So.
And it's a great privilege to have David with us, truly. So I'd like to introduce him.
David, why don't you join us here? Really privileged to have you here. Thanks for joining us today. It's been 45 years since you've been doing this, and there are a lot of people that said you couldn't do it. And tell us about that a little bit.
Well, the operation here at Great Salt Lake, we're in a very cold period in the wintertime, and because of that, people said, well, solar ponds need heat, and you're not going to be able to do much just in one summertime.
Right.
So it took a special design on the solar ponds to sequentially flow brines through the ponds, make the design so that it would work, and in June, July, and August, we're able to make thousands, up to millions of tons of salt using the technology that we've developed here on the Great Salt Lake.
Wow, that's interesting. That's great.
And of course, you've taken that same design, David, and you've put it into our facility. All that 45 years of history you've put into a...
Well, yes, I've worked across the world on every continent developing the mathematics and the science of running solar ponds. And so that technology, of course, is used here on this operation to make sure they run very efficiently and get the most. And yet, solar ponds, they don't use chemicals. They don't use anything that would cause a problem in the brine, except for the sun. And so you might say it's the sun that does all the work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no other chemicals or problems associated with those solar ponds.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that you traveled throughout the world. Tell us some of the places you've gone and done.
About over 50 different countries.
Wow.
Worked in that, developed solar ponds in those operations. And so I tell people, name a place you'd like to be, and I'll bet I've been there. And so far, it's been about true. There's so many operations in the world that want to use cheap energy, which is the sun, and using solar ponds.
Right.
But there are all different types of minerals, and so you can make different types, depends on the brine, where it comes from. And Great Salt Lake is unique. It's a sulfate lake, and not many are found in the world.
Right.
So you'd say that this is truly one of the most unique bodies of water in the world?
Yes, it is. People think about Great Salt Lake and the Dead Sea as being the two big lakes of the world, the terminal lakes, we call them terminal lakes.
Right.
And the Dead Sea is a chloride lake. Great Salt Lake is a sulfate lake, and it has many more trace minerals and sulfate minerals than most of the other lakes of the world.
So Dave, you've brought all your 45 years that you've been doing this to Trace Minerals Research to help us create such a pristine product.
Make efficient solar ponds here, and to do it effectively, quickly, and efficiently.
Right.
We've used all the technology that we've learned over those 45 years.
So tell us a little bit, if you could, just briefly about the fact that we're using such a minimal amount, considering to create. You know, we used to have to use a lot, but we don't have to use that much anymore because of the technology you've brought to us.
Well, you want to make the most you can for the least area that you have.
Sure.
And the least expense, you want to keep it down. And so there's just so much magnesium and other elements in the lake, and you want to push all of those towards the end product.
Right.
And this type of solar pond operation here, using the theory of sequential ponds and sequencing brine from one to another, does just that. It makes it a very efficient system so that you get the very most you can out of the least that you pump in.
Right.
So basically what I've understood from that, David, is that we can actually take 20 gallons of Great Salt Lake water and get a gallon of concentrated trace mineral drops, is what we call it.
Well, doing it effectively, you can get about 20 to 1.
That's excellent. Well, thanks for being with us, David. We appreciate it.
Well, it's been my pleasure.